Hi and welcome to this episode of School of Tao. This is oriented all around verse number 18 of my adaptation of the ancient book of Chinese changes, the Tao Te Ching, which is ancient Taoist Chinese philosophy that is all based upon this harmonic principle of organizing ourselves with nature so that we find the rhythm. So the Tao for the Now is based off 64 readings, dynamic states that are showing the correspondence between the external and internal, and also navigating the masculine and feminine energies that weave and construct and actually give rise to all of these different phenomena that we see in nature. So the reading that's coming through today is verse number 18, which is to dissolve. And this will immediately give rise to some sort of feeling sensation, I would imagine, in your body. Dissolve, the word dissolve. It actually sees the external mountain. This is the external reality, the quality of the mountain: stability, strength, rigid, very masculine, unmoving. It is seasonally winter. And the internal reality for this reading is wind. So we're thinking of the feminine: movement, news, information, cycles, circulation. So here, dissolve is where we begin. The abstract verse for this reading, dissolve, is this: wild golden crystal warriors, the beautiful circle plumage of God's compulsion. A way of timing exists, a golden maze, with wise first pomegranate man. The circle some lures, the golden bird home. It flies straight home and appears in the fresh morning graffiti. The action, the accent for this reading is to adapt and adjust. So the image, the visual meditation to go with reading 18 is here. So I'll just allow you to be with that for a minute. So a reminder, the essence is dissolve. It's mountain, external reality, above wind, internal reality. And the accent, the action, is to adapt and adjust. So the questions, the reflection points: am I as open to release as to receive? Now, sometimes what happens is we experience some part of magic, something in our life, and we're like, wow, that was incredible in a particular moment. And there might be an attachment to the feeling of that and to the experience of it, like, oh, I want to create it again, or I want more of it. There's suddenly this sense of wanting to recreate it, or a sense of lack, or, oh, what if it doesn't come around again? But if we can shift to this position of really this mantra of more magic will always come, and every new moment requires new magic, new experience. And sometimes that experience will come again in a very similar form. Sometimes it will come around in a completely different form. But I love this sense of releasing it back into the flow and the stream of love, knowing that that same love, that same magic, that same powerful experience that created a certain sensation in your body will return again. That same love will return again in another form. And we never have to worry. And so long as we're loose, so long as the energy flows, then the magic can meet us. So are you emptying every time you go through an experience, or are you attaching onto it and trying to recreate it? Because literally everything's in constant flux. So every new moment is a new now and is calling for a new something, a new inspired action, or a new thing to be spoken, or a new thing to be let go of. And every time can we empty? Can we empty more, empty again and again and again? And every time we empty the well of our being, we can renew and be refreshed. And if we hold on to something, then we take up space and we actually can't be open to receive. This reading also asks us, can I try doing the opposite of the usual tendency? So sometimes we get in these very habitual patterns where we respond to things in a way that are sometimes like responsive from the place of the wound, some sort of childhood pattern where we might try to receive love in a certain way, or we act out if we're triggered. But can we actually do exactly the opposite of what we usually would do? Bring the opposite tendency, bring the opposite reaction. And in this very conscious way, be like, what do I do when I get the outcome that I desire? And can I do more of that? Because the more I act in unusual tendencies that will become normal and habitual after that. But if I resist the impulse to respond and react in very habitual ways that don't get me what I want, usually, then I will change the pattern. You know, it's really uncomfortable sometimes to begin with, but that discomfort is just sensation. And every time we change the pattern, we say to the universe, I'm flexible, I'm willing to change, I'm open to seeing new ways, I'm open to let go, I'm open to sit in discomfort. And when we sit in discomfort and when we change patterns, we enter the sphere, the magical sphere of expansion, and we are able to be met in higher ways and actually connect with experiences that are much more at a soul level, much more aligned or higher aligned. As soon as we change that pattern, we change the energetic, we change the entire experience of our reality, actually. This reading also asks us, are we willing to allow a situation that's reached its zenith, reached an expansion, to like contract and find its natural state of elasticity again? You know, something's been stretched and stretched and stretched, and it needs to, once it's reached its limit for that moment, decompress. You know, there needs to be an introversion or a relaxation of the energies so that the restoration can happen, the restoring of energy from the source, and then the situation can expand again. And all the time we're working with these ebbs and flows, these expansions and contractions. Contraction is a very necessary part of nature because it gives us time to restore our energy, or to be restored from the source. And every time we relax, we say, I let go, we're unconditionally loving. When we're in a state of let go, we're saying, I trust in the divine order. I trust that what I love will come to me, because that's how the magnetics work. Every time I love something, I'm creating it through my heart space. The magnetism of our heart is our superpower. It's actually 5,000 times more magnetically wrapping and nesting and enfolding than when we use our mind to make decisions. So we can come into this heart space of love and be like, I know I'm going to attract more of that same kind of love. You know, when I let go, then it can come. When I loosen the energy, then all beautiful things can come to me. You know, they can reach me. And it asks, how do I feel in the empty space? When there's space where nothing's happening or it's quiet, you know, I'm being communicated with in a different way. Can I listen in the silence? Can I stay in like places of solitude sometimes? You know, in solitude we reach height, whereas in community we reach depth. And there's a place for beautiful both. And we can find this height and we can reach our higher self-awareness when we're in spaces, when we carve out consciously spaces to be in solitude, to be in silence, even, especially amidst a busy life, in a busy world, in a fast-paced everything. And I do believe there's a place for fast and slow. I don't believe we want to completely slow down living. I think we want all temperaments in our life, just like a beautifully vibrant, interestingly organized, composed piece of music. Our life is the same way, and we need all tempos in the perfect places, or rather in the divine timing. You know, when do I need to be more fast? When do I need to slow it down? And feeling into that space and making this conscious choice to either slow it down or speed it up. You know, when we get too sluggish, can we speed it up? When we get too speedy, can we ground it right down to the earth, you know? The mantra for this reading is, I allow things to flow in and out of my life without holding tightly to anything at all. I allow things to flow in and out of my life without holding tightly to anything. The random words are result, perforate, and lonely. I wonder how this lands with you. See you in the next Oracle reading.